Hey, good morning, everybody. I see you're all muted, so I'm not sure you can hear me. I can't hear anything on this end. Could somebody
Good
just
morning.
kind of give an indication of the audio working?
I can hear you perfect. This is Jake.
It's working. Sean says it's working. Okay, I trust you, Sean. Good. And I'm assuming that I'm assuming everybody else, can hear this as well. So this morning, um, we have we have with us Scott Kirkwood, and Scott has been a really valued volunteer in the past. He's helped out with some analytical stuff, and he's also an instructor doing some instruction for Salesforce users. And this is such a cool thing that we're doing this. I think you'll find out this is really important perspective that will allow you to be all the more effective as an administrator. I mean, it's like anything else. If you understand the people you're serving from their perspective, you're obviously going to be a better servant of their needs. And the users to whom this training is directed are the ones that you would be serving. So they would come to you and say, "Hey Jay, I need a custom field over here, and I need a trigger to be developed or a custom object and a report," something like that. And so your job is going to be to really make sure you understand what they need, and maybe advise them on, well, why do you really feel you need to do it that way? Here's another way you might want to consider, right? Those kind of things. That kind of interaction just makes you such a much better admin. So anyway, without ado, Scott, can you hear, is your mic on? Can you give me a sound check?
Yeah, hi. Are you able to hear me? Hello?
Scott, I can't hear you, but maybe you're on mute.
Hey, are you able to hear me now?
Okay. Scott, can you hear me? If you can, I'm not hearing you, but maybe you can just put something in the chat box. Let me know that you're on.
Sure. It looks like I'm getting through to the call here. Let me see if I can.
Oh, Jay can hear Scott, but I can't. Huh. Scott, are you? Well, that's weird. Okay. Well, let's see if I can. Oh, I am muted. Okay.
How's that? John, can you hear me now?
Although it doesn't say I'm mute. Bottom corner with the speaker icon. Red X. Yeah, I'm not. I don't show that I'm muted.
Let's see.
Okay. 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 Um, can you? Okay, you can hear me, but I can't hear anybody. I think because you're muted on this end. I think okay. Okay, oh boy. This is weird. I can't hear anybody on this end, but it sounds like you can hear each other. Click on the sound icon. Okay. Sorry. Okay. I think
Morning, John.
Good morning. I'm sorry, guys. I'm all thumbs, man. Okay. Well, I think we're good now. I can hear you. And Scott, give me a sound check there, man.
Yeah, hi, John.
Hi, Scott. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you the screen. And okay, where are you? Okay, Scott Kirkwood. Okay, make presenter. Okay, here we go. Yeah, okay, good. Hey, well, so Scott, sorry guys about all that. That was I did that earlier and I forgot that I'd muted myself. Not on the application, but through the PC. So, okay, Scott, I mentioned earlier, I mean, Scott's been a huge help. He happens to be also a bass player like me, and I think some of you guys are musicians, but I think it's, in my experience, there's a very high correlation between musical ability and, programming and technology. And in this case, Scott's proved the theory once again. In any event, Scott, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thank you guys for having me this morning. I've talked with John a lot about the program and what you guys are doing. What I do is, I do administration and I also do training. So what I'm hoping to do today is just walk through, a basic user training. And this might be a first introduction to, a sales team that you guys are working with or a marketing team that you guys are working with. I've found, Salesforce can be a great tool, but a lot of companies don't take the time to do the training, and they don't get out of it what they might otherwise. So, I hope that, this sort of basic, overview of kind of introducing users to the interface and getting them comfortable will help you guys be successful and, and help you get the most out of Salesforce as you move into it. So, I'm not sure if you guys have ever used Salesforce's free developer accounts, but if you go, and I'll go there now. First, is everybody able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Salesforce actually offers free developer accounts, which I love. I use them as training environments. I use them for testing projects, and you guys can sign up anytime for one of these developer accounts and use it as a practice environment. And if you're interested in doing that, that's what I'm using today. You can just go to developer.force.com, and there's a sign up button over here on the right. And I really enjoy making use of these developer accounts. They're a great training tool, like I said. So just starting from the beginning, just making sure that users are comfortable, navigating to Salesforce.com and logging in is a good starting point. But I've worked with teams where, just putting a bookmark on their internet browser to get them to Salesforce is a big step to help them. So, as a starting point, we can start at login.salesforce.com. You can have these guys log in here, and I find it's helpful to have them bookmark it and add it to their browser, so that anytime they open up their internet browser, it's real easy for them to go ahead and log on. So, okay, so what I want to do now is just quickly walk through an introduction to Salesforce interface. This is going to probably be mostly review for most of you guys, and hopefully it's helpful just to give a sense of kind of the basic stuff that I think is important for sales reps, especially getting started. So once you log in, we'll land on our home tab, and just as a starting point, this is Salesforce.com. This is the basic interface that we're going to be working in, and so there are really four basic parts to the Salesforce interface. So, the first part is, there's this header section up here, and one of the most useful features in Salesforce, especially getting started, is this global search bar. And This global search bar allows you to search for any piece of information in Salesforce, whether it be an account you're looking for, a case that you've been working on, you can search for it here. So, that's where to find that, and that's very helpful. And then over here on the right side of the header, we've got a few options. You've got your personal profile, your Chatter profile, and your settings. And from the administrative side, this is where you access the setup menu. Salesforce.com has also got a really extensive help and training resource online. So if you click this help button, it'll take you into the Salesforce.com support portal. And so, this is a great place to search for articles. I come here a lot if I have a simple question. How do I, open up access to this report to a new group of users? There's so many contributors and so much information on this website. It's also worth scrolling down. There's a whole training section in Salesforce's help and training site, and these are actually free tutorials. There's a lot of stuff they put up on YouTube for free. So, as an administrator coming in and helping these guys get set up, taking advantage of these free resources can be really helpful. So this is definitely something great to spend a few minutes checking out. Okay. So we were talking about first section of the interface of the header. We've got our global search. We've got our personal settings. And then this menu here is our application menu. So in Salesforce and application, it's really just a group of tabs. It's a way, it's a custom version of the interface that helps specific kinds of users be effective in Salesforce and show them what's most relevant. So when you select one of these applications, you can see here on the top our tabs change. In getting started, understanding what tabs are most important to you, what you want to see when you log in, and building that into your application can be really helpful. So that's our header. The second part of the interface, are these tabs themselves. In Salesforce, each of these tabs will bring us into a given object, so we can look at our leads, we can look at our accounts, and we'll come back and talk a little more about each of those in detail. Our third section here is the sidebar. And the sidebar is a way to either quickly create new content in Salesforce, view items we've been working on recently, and also access this recycle bin. So a real common question is, did something accidentally and I want to recover it. And this recycle bin here is the place to do that. So you can come into your recycle bin and restore any records that you may have deleted inadvertently. And then finally, we've got just the body of the application, and this of course updates as we navigate through the system. So as we log in, we're going to land on this home tab, and I'd like to just quickly go through at a basic level each of these tabs, and then we'll talk a little bit about Salesforce's sales model and kind of how to be successful as a user, getting in the system and running the business. So starting from the home tab, we've got our chatter feed is the first thing that we see. I know Veterans to Work has been real active on chatter. Chatter is Facebook's social networking application. It's a way to share not just comments and chatter, but also files, create events, take polls, and there's a lot you can do here. And we'll talk a little bit more about chatter in just a minute. You can also see our calendar here on the home screen. In Salesforce, creating events is easy. Basically, if you create a new event, it will show up on your calendar as a confirmed event. If you request a meeting, it will go ahead and send a request out to who you send that request to, and once they've accepted, it will become an event. So you can basically think of your calendar as storing events, and they're really just pending events. Similar to Outlook and other calendar programs, you can look at different views of your calendar. Say, this is just me, a single user view. This is a multi-user view. And so if I go there, I can see my calendar as well as the calendars of other members of my organization. So as you guys are working together and scheduling with different guys, this can be a real helpful view. We've also got our task section down here. Tasks in Salesforce are just reminders. They're follow-ups. When you create tasks for yourself, you can create tasks for others. We'll send reminders. You can see these tasks assigned to records. So if it's a deal you're working on, or it's a contact that you're working with, you can see those tasks right on the record to keep you reminded of next steps. One of the first things I like to do personally with my tasks is come over here to this drop-down menu. You can see that now this drop-down menu says, show me just my overdue tasks. In Salesforce, by default, in a new organization, it will only show you your overdue tasks the first time you log in. I found it's more useful for me to see all of my open tasks. So once you change this once, it'll save that every time you log in. But this way, you can avoid that, overlooking tasks that may be due, in the near future. So, and then finally, down here at the bottom, there are item approval lists. We may not get to approvals today, but in Salesforce, you can set up approval flows that allow you to pass records and deal approvals, through a chain of approval, and those items will show up here. So that's a quick introduction to the home screen. This is what you'll see as you log in. As you're working on Chatter and you start to develop some tasks and events, this will all become populated and be a little more meaningful. But hopefully that's a helpful introduction. So I want to go briefly to just some basics in terms of personal settings. So up here at the top in our header bar, if you click on your username, you can come here to My Settings. And so My Settings is a place where you can manage your signatures. You can create custom email templates. You can manage Chatter settings and calendar settings. So this is a really helpful screen to be familiar with. A lot of times, especially starting out, you may want to know, okay, how do I change my time zone? Or how do I create a signature for my emails? And all that kind of stuff can happen here. So, we won't spend too much time. This is fairly straightforward. As an administrator, this is a good place to point new users to just help them, update personal information and customize tabs and kind of basic setup tasks. Okay, so we talked about the interface and our home screen and our personal settings. Let's start to walk through some of these tabs just to be familiar with the major standard objects in Salesforce and kind of how they fit into Salesforce's model of the sales cycle. So we'll start just quickly with Chatter. Again, Chatter is Salesforce's social network. So it's a lot like Facebook. You have users and you have groups. You can share what you're working on. You can share files. There are also some real interesting options here. So for instance, you could take a poll and you could say, hey, should we have our national sales meeting in San Diego or Las Vegas? And you can ask your sales users to give you input stuff like that. So, it's very extensive, and Chatter is a element of Salesforce which is constantly being developed and grown. So, there's a lot of ways you can extend this. At a basic level, it's a good way to create groups and work on projects collaboratively. Okay. So what I want to do now is give a basic overview of how Salesforce tracks its major objects and what the sales cycle looks like in Salesforce. So, a lot of sales teams have their way of qualifying leads, of creating accounts and managing sales deals through the sales process. What Salesforce.com does provides a real generic way of qualifying leads and following opportunities or sales deals through a sales process. And so, as a user, it's important to understand, what these basic elements are, so that you can, apply them to your business and avoid confusion. So, just to quickly give an overview of this model. This is just a quick illustration, but basically in Salesforce, there are 3 standard objects that really are central to the sales cycle. And so I'm going to go quickly through each of those objects. So first we've got accounts. So in Salesforce.com, an account is any end customer you're doing business with. And it can be helpful to just think of an account as, this is the entity that's going to receive an invoice. This is the business with whom, we're going to do business. So in Salesforce, that's an account. And within each account, you can have multiple contacts. And a contact within an account is just an individual who works at that account. And you can also have multiple opportunities. And these, of course, are the deals that we're trying to close with this account. So in Salesforce, this is a many-to-one relationship. So many contacts can belong to a single account, but every contact has to be owned by a single account. So if you are John Smith and you work for Workday, you can only work for Workday in Salesforce. And on the other side, Workday can have thousands and thousands of contacts. That's fine. And it's the same story for opportunities. Each opportunity needs to belong to a single account. And so we're trying to close a deal with Workday. That opportunity must fall under Workday alone. And then again, we can have multiple deals at once that we're working with a single account. And so these 3 objects are the basic components to the Salesforce sales cycle, and managing these well, will basically go a long way to being successful. So again, just understanding an account is an end user with whom we're going to do business. A contact is an individual who works at an account, and an opportunity is a deal that we are trying to close at an account. And so one last component to the sales cycle is the lead object. And in Salesforce, leads are treated as totally outside of and separate from the rest of the sales cycle. And the idea here is that a lead is a totally unqualified prospect. And the way Salesforce sort of keeps things clean and meaningful is to keep leads essentially on one side of the house here, and they won't enter in, to this main part of Salesforce until they've been qualified. And so these leads, they may come from a trade show or a purchased list, and so as a sales rep, you may get 1,000 leads sitting in your Salesforce instance assigned to you, and it's basically, going to be your responsibility and hopefully helpful to find some of those leads that you feel confident about doing some business with and working them through the conversion process. So, to keep things simple, basically we're going to have a lot of leads in Salesforce, and we're going to have fewer, in most cases, accounts, contacts, and opportunities. So we'll go through a little bit more detail on leads, and we'll actually go through the conversion process, and hopefully that helps to kind of wrap up this whole picture. I'm going to come back now into Salesforce. Okay, great. And so you can see here again with our tabs, we've got those objects, sitting right here in front of us. So we've got our leads object here. These icons are helpful in Salesforce. You can see here's our lead. Here are our accounts, our contacts at those accounts, and our opportunities at those accounts. And so, so we'll come back and go through a little more detail on each of those objects. But those are the major components of the sales cycle. As a sales user, as a marketing user, these are going to be the objects with which you interact most frequently. So hopefully that's helpful introduction. Just real quickly, I want to talk about cases. A case you can think of as a help desk ticket or a customer inquiry, typically about a product or service question. So, you sold 100 widgets to Workday, and they say, we're having a little trouble, figuring out how to use these. They may log a case with your company, and cases are basically ways of tracking these customer complaints so that you can resolve them quickly. Salesforce gives a lot of flexibility and options with respect to cases, and so if you've got a customer service department, you can set these cases up to queue up to the customer service group, and then those representatives can take ownership of them and resolve them. So these cases belong to accounts in a many-to-one fashion, in the same way that opportunities belong to accounts in a many-to-one fashion. So going back to this picture, beneath accounts, we're going to have many contacts, we're going to have many opportunities, and we're also going to have, in some cases, many cases as well. So, and then finally, we'll come back to this at the end, hopefully, and give a quick overview. But here are reports and dashboards tabs. So these can be extremely helpful in terms of consolidating information in Salesforce and accessing what you're interested in quickly. As a new user, I would recommend exploring some of these pre-built reports that come with Salesforce.com. So just out of the box, as soon as you log in, if you come over here and explore these folders, you can see we've got some account and contact reports. So maybe we want to answer the question, who owns which accounts in the company? And we could run this report, and we could get a sense of which accounts are owned by whom in the company. We've got an opportunity report here where we can see what opportunities have been won so far, and so maybe we can see some additional information here. And as you're working with reports, you can export these to Excel. You can schedule these to run and be emailed out. And so there's a lot of flexibility you have as an administrator, setting up helpful reports for your guys. And as an end user, really making use of a couple of simple reports, that are relevant to your business can be real helpful. So. And finally, dashboards are just a visual representation of those reports. We haven't built any dashboards yet, but when you create a dashboard, you're basically going to translate a report into some kind of chart, that gives a visual representation of the underlying data. So So hopefully that's a helpful overview. These are really the major standard objects in Salesforce.com. There are several additional objects, and so if you click this plus button here, we can open that up to see all tabs. And so here are additional tabs that we can work with in Salesforce. So you can see there's an assets tab. So these would be assets that we as a company own that might be living somewhere else, like living at a client company location. We've got campaigns, which are very important to marketing efforts. Campaigns are basically buckets to group opportunities and ways of tracking, how much business we're generating, within a given campaign, a given marketing initiative. So, of course, we've got contracts. A lot of companies use the contracts module to manage contracts through Salesforce. Data.com is a tool that you can use to do market research. So there are a lot of important tabs that are in here. But as an end user, the most important tabs are going to be your leads, accounts, contacts, and opportunities, and managing those effectively is a good starting point. So, okay, so I want to spend a few minutes just coming back and talking about how these objects fit together. So again, we've got accounts as our end clients with whom we're doing business, contacts who live there, and opportunities we're trying to close there. And so, hopefully as an end user, you're getting some leads from a trade show, it's Dreamforce or it's a market list, wherever these are coming from. You're going to spend some time hopefully converting these leads and generating new business opportunities. So let's go through what that process looks like now. So as a user in Salesforce, you can come here to your Leads tab. And by default in Salesforce, it will show you leads that you've been working on recently as your default view. What you can also do is you can select one of these views here from this drop-down menu to see additional information. So I'm going to select this view, all open leads, and click go. Okay, great. When I do that, I can see I've got maybe 15 leads here, and they're at different stages in the qualification process. And so if I click on any one of these leads, let's say Bertha Boxer, I can see lots of basic information here in lead detail. What industry is she in? What's the annual revenue of the company that she works for? Her phone number and maybe her rating. Maybe I think, okay, she's a really promising lead. And all this stuff as an end user, you have the ability to manage. And so, hopefully as we're learning more about Bertha, we're coming in here and we're updating her product interest and we're updating the number of employees at her company to really understand, is this a lead that's worth our time? So that's a very basic process, basically coming in here and editing fields. Anytime you want to edit one of your records in Salesforce, you can click this edit button here. It'll take you into your edit screen. You make your changes and click save. You can also quickly edit any of these fields by double-clicking on the field and then clicking save here. So 2 ways to edit these records. Okay, so as an exercise, we're getting ready to convert Bertha Boxer into a viable contact, and we've spoken with her a couple of times now. We feel pretty confident that we want to pursue business with her, and she's sort of moving beyond the phase of being a lead. So we want to convert her, and the conversion process in Salesforce from a lead basically looks like this. Bertha is here as a lead, and we decide that she's a viable business prospect. We're going to convert her. When converting a lead, we're going to create a new contact record. So Bertha is going to go from being a lead record to a contact, and we're also going to create a new account record, which is the company that she works at. Now, when we convert her, we're certainly going to turn her into a contact. If she works at a company, say Microsoft, that we're already doing business with, we don't need to create a new account record. What we'll actually do is we'll convert her, she'll be a new contact, and we'll just assign her to Microsoft, so that's fine. And if the account doesn't exist, we'll convert her to a contact, and we'll also create a new account record for her to live at. And the last step of the conversion process is optional. We can go ahead and create a new opportunity. So if we just got off the phone with her and she loves this product and we're feeling pretty confident that's what she's going to go with, we can convert her, create her contact record, create her account record, and also go ahead and create a new opportunity record that we can start to manage through the sales cycle. And so we'll go through those steps now. So to convert a lead, we'll come to Leads tab. We'll select this All Open Leads view, and then we'll find the lead that we're ready to convert. And now here on the lead record, there's a Convert button. So we'll click Convert, and this will walk us through the process. And so you have an opportunity to change the record owner here. In a lot of companies, it's going to be the inside sales or the marketing team responsible for qualifying and converting leads. And at the point of conversion where we're at now, we may decide, okay, now it's time to reassign this lead to the local rep, in the area. And so you have that option here. If you are doing that, it's helpful to check this checkbox and send an email to let that new owner know. Again, here, we're asking, do we already have a Farmers Co-op of Florida account where Bertha can live? And if we don't, we'll go ahead and create that new account. You can also create an opportunity here. If we're not yet ready to do that, we can click, don't create that opportunity, and that will skip this optional step here. Okay, we also have the option to create a new task. So if we want, we could here create a task that says, call Bertha, and we could say we need to do that by next Monday, and it's a high priority task. And we can also set a reminder for that task here. So a very basic process, but something that as an end user, you're going to do over and over and over. So understanding, basically what we're doing here, we've got, this account that we're either creating, or finding as an existing account in our instance, and we're creating a new contact record from our lead record. So that's the basic process. We'll go ahead and hit Convert, and that will take us into our new account record. So Farmers Co-op of Florida. And if we scroll down, we can see that Bertha Boxer is now a contact at our new account. And so, again, that's a starting point for a lot of our deals. It's going to be finding a qualified lead, converting to a contact, assigning to an account, and then finally creating a new opportunity. So let's go ahead and create a new opportunity now. To create a new opportunity in Salesforce, you can start here from your Opportunities tab and select New. And if you do that, you'll basically start from scratch and you can create an opportunity there. Alternatively, you can go to the account where you're going to create this new opportunity. So for instance, Farmers Co-op of Florida. And we can scroll down to our opportunities list here and create the new opportunity from the account page. And if we do that, it'll already pull in the account name. It'll help to keep things in the right place. And so that's where we're going to start for our purposes. So we're ready to create a new opportunity for Farmers Co-op of Florida. We'll come to the account page and create a new opportunity. So in creating a new opportunity, there are just a few major components. We're going to give it a name. Most companies have a general naming convention they follow. In most companies that I've worked with, they use the account name followed by the product interest, and the anticipated close date. You know, this is sort of a best practice recommended by Salesforce and followed by a lot of companies. There are, of course, you know, different sales cycles and different needs. So this will vary. But you know, make sure the name is something meaningful that you can see it and understand which deal you're talking about. So this is going to be us. You know, we've got lead sources that we can use. Again, these will all be specific to a given company. The real important elements of an opportunity are here. This is going to tell us, you know, if we get this deal, you know, what's it going to represent? And so this is going to be the total revenue represented by winning the deal. So, you know, we know if we are able to sell Farmers Co-op this product, we're going to get $900,000 out of this deal. And the close date's also really important. So in Salesforce, the close date is the date on which you sell this product. So this may be the date you sign a contract. This may be you know, the day that you ship a product. But the close date's very important in terms of understanding when this revenue is going to come through. Okay, and then finally we've got this stage field here. And stage in Salesforce is how we understand, you know, how far along this deal has progressed. So, you know, as a user creating these opportunities and managing these opportunities, this stage field here, along with the amount field and the close date, is the most important field to manage. You know, if you know, you've got this deal sitting in prospecting in the system, and in reality, you know, you've already signed a contract, you know, the company might be surprised. They might, you know, they might end up with a deal that they're not ready for, and they don't have product ready to ship. So as an end user, one of your biggest responsibilities is to constantly keep your opportunities up to date, and specifically to keep your amounts, close dates, and stage fields up to date. And if you can do that on a consistent basis with all your opportunities, it's going to go a long way to keeping Salesforce healthy and useful for the organization. So those are the basics. So, you know, we can go ahead and we can save this opportunity. And now when we come into this account and we scroll down the page, we can see, you know, here's our opportunity, and you know, and within that account record, we can now see we've got our Bertha contact that we converted, and we've got our new opportunity. And so those are really the major components of the sales cycle. You know, finally, you know, we'll go through the process of closing the deal out. And so we just received a purchase order from Farmers Co-op. They're ready to buy this, and so what we can do is we can navigate to that opportunity. So we can come to our opportunities tab. We can start there and see that there's the recent opportunity we've been working on. And when we're ready to close it, we can come down here to stage and double click to edit and move it to close one. And you know, in Salesforce, every opportunity you know, should end up in one of these two buckets. So it's either closed won, you know, we won the deal, or it's closed lost, you know, the deal was canceled, somebody else won it. And so you know, that's basically the last step in the process. So we won this deal, we're going to say closed won, and we're going to save. And so that's great. You know, again, as an end user, you know, make sure that this amount here, this close date, and this stage are all accurate for all your deals, and you'll basically be doing your job. I mean, that's really the most important part of managing this stuff. Okay, so that's great. You know, we've got a few minutes left. I want to quickly look at reports. and go through a couple of simple user processes just to sort of wrap up. And I want to make myself available for questions too. I know this is just a quick call, but but hopefully this helpful overview, and we can and get a little more detailed here in the future. So I'll go through quickly just some common tasks as an end user. One of the most common requests is just, how do I log a call, or how do I attach an email to a contact record? And so we'll go through that now. So if we go to our contacts tab, and we'll navigate to Bertha, and we can scroll down Bertha's contact record, and we can see all of these related lists. So opportunities related to her, cases related to her, and down here we've got open activities. And open activities will be either tasks, so like we have a follow-up call that we want, that we've scheduled. It could also be an event, so a calendar event. And then down here we've got activity history, and activity history will allow us to log a call, which is a really common request as an end user, especially for inside sales. Being able to track, to whom we've reached out and keep track of that information. This is where you do that. So you can just click log a call. It's very simple. It's basically going to be treated as a task that we've completed, and we can save that. So that's where you do that. And then again, attaching files in Salesforce is really helpful. So you may have an email that you've been working on with Bertha that's really relevant to a deal that's coming up. And we just want to attach that email in Salesforce. So you can do that by just clicking attach file here. You can browse to find it, and you can find that email and just select it, attach it, and we'll click done. And now when we visit Bertha's contact page, we can see we've got this attachment now, down here in our notes and attachment section. And if we click on it, it's a way that we can quickly view or download the file and access that directly from Salesforce. So those are a couple of real common tasks that users ask for that are very helpful. And I want to introduce just real quickly one trick that can really help to make an implementation easy on end users, and that's the My Email to Salesforce feature in Salesforce. And My Email to Salesforce is a tool that allows users to send emails directly to Salesforce from Outlook or any other email client, and then attach them to Salesforce records. And so, rather than doing what we just did, where we come to the contact record and we go to the record and we attach a file, we can actually be sitting directly in our email client, and we can just email an email directly to Salesforce and attach it to a record. So I want to quickly go through what that looks like. As an administrator, this is a way to provide a lot of value to end users very quickly, and especially getting started, this can really help. So My Email to Salesforce basically has just a couple of steps. The first step as an administrator is come here to Setup. And within Setup, you can navigate to it. You can also use the Setup search, which is really helpful as these menus get really expensive. But if we start to look for it, okay, and I'm going to have to take back what I said because we're in a developer account and we actually can't use it. So I apologize for that. It's a great feature. It's something that in any of your enterprise editions that you're managing, you can set up. I'd be really happy to open up an enterprise version and show you guys that another time. But that's a nice tool. Apologize that's not available. So quickly, last couple of minutes here, I want to talk just about reports. As an administrator, building a couple simple reports that are meaningful out of the gates.
Scott?
Can be great. Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry to interrupt, but would you like to use my enterprise, the actual account? It's populated, and I've got it configured exactly the way you have yours. Would that help?
Sure. You know what I can actually do is I think I can log in with this. It's veterans to work. Yeah, that would help, John. Yeah, if you're able to do that, that's great.
I don't know that your stuff is active, but what I'll do is let me just show you, have you see my screen, and or if you can give, let's see, give back the screen to me. Let's see here. And then what I'll do is I'll give you the mouse and keyboard. So yeah, there you go. Okay. And then John Reynolds, okay, on the presenter. Do you know how to give this thing? I don't know if I know how to give this back to myself. But it doesn't look like I have that ability.
Okay.
Huh. It's weird. Okay. Become the presenter. Oh, okay. All right. Become the presenter. Okay, so I don't know how to become the presenter. Do you know how to give that back at all, Scott? That's okay. I will. I was going to kind of show you some examples of stuff that was populated. I thought maybe you could just use my screen, but why don't you just go ahead and continue on. Maybe if I figure out how to do this, that'll be. Actually,
Yeah, well, that sounds good. And what maybe I can do is after the call, I can create a quick, 5-minute overview of what that email to Salesforce looks like, and post that to Chatter, and you guys can have that. That might be better.
It looks, yeah. So, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I think I can do this. Well, okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So we have just a couple minutes left. I just want to quickly walk through the report tool. What the interface looks like. How as an end user, you can build some simple reports, and how you can access some of these reports built by Salesforce and built by your administrators. So, to get to a report, you can come here to the Reports tab. Again, Salesforce comes with a lot of pre-built reports that can be helpful. For instance, we've got a whole folder here of lead reports, and those lead reports can summarize information about your leads and give you a little bit of insight into where these leads are coming from. So one of the most popular reports is leads by source. Marketing teams really like to look at this. So if you click on your leads report folder and leads by source, what this will do is give us a summary of where our leads are coming from. So you can see here we've got 7 leads from web, we've got 4 leads from phone inquiries, and we've got 22 leads total. So looking at this page, we're seeing the summary numbers. We might be interested in the details. So what are those 7 web leads? So within a report to show the details, there is a show details button here just above the report screen. And if you click that, it will expand. And so now, maybe you found as a sales rep that phone inquiry leads are the best prospects. People who actually called us up and were interested, and that's where you want to start with your follow-ups. So again, this is a pre-built report that comes with every enterprise edition. that can really help give end users value, right away. And a lot of times I've found, end users getting a little discouraged or a little frustrated with Salesforce starting out, just because they don't realize, they can easily access this stuff. And so, just understanding at a basic level how to navigate to the Reports tab and find a couple of useful reports can go a long way, to being successful as a user. So I wanted to share that pre-built report, and I also want to quickly introduce, the report tool and how these guys can build their own reports, and how as an administrator you can build reports for your organization. So there's a new report button at the top. If we start there, the first step is going to be to select what kind of report we want to create. And so let's say that we're interested in creating an opportunity report. And what we want to know is, basically, what's the total amount of opportunities, that are open right now. So what are all of our open deals, and how much are they worth? So the way we can do that is we can say, give me an opportunity report. I will create the report down here. And now this will open the reporting tool. And so, the first time you log in here, you can take a tour that'll introduce it. For today, we'll just quickly walk through the interface and probably leave it there. But there are a few components here. You've got your report preview here, and so this is where you can actually build your report and see, what the columns are going to look like and the information that you're showing. Just above that, you've got this filter section. This is where we can filter our report data down to just what's most relevant for us. So if we're only interested in seeing open opportunities that are scheduled to close in the current fiscal quarter, we can set that filter here. We can also open these filters up to say, okay, show me all time, show me all opportunities, and you can see that will expand the scope of the report. It's really easy to add and remove columns in a report. You basically have over here on the left all of our available information that we can report on. So, for instance, an opportunity stage or probability or fiscal period in which it's going to close. You can just grab any one of those columns, click and drag, and you can click and drag it into the report. You can also click and drag the headings themselves, either to rearrange them on the report or actually click and drag them all the way off back into the sidebar to remove them from the report. And so again, that's a very basic introduction, but as you can see, either as an administrator or an end user, just creating a couple of simple reports is a good way to get value out of the system right away. And so that's a basic overview of major objects, of reports, and the basic interface. I really think that the best thing you can do as an administrator, getting started is, keep things simple. Make sure that, once your end users are logging in, there's just one or two things that they're expected to do, and they're kind of set up for success. And as far as reports, just creating one or two simple reports that these guys know how to access on day one, that are meaningful to their business, can really help build trust and confidence in the system. And so, I hope this is a hopeful overview. Again, I want to make myself available. I know you guys are pretty far along in the process here. And so if there's any administrative questions or anything else I can help with, as far as the certification exam or anything like that, I'll post my email and contact information, and I'd really appreciate you guys reaching out.
Well, great, Scott. That's a really terrific overview. I'm sure you guys have questions. Scott, can you hang for some questions?
Sure, absolutely.
Any questions? Either, just go ahead and speak out. If in the meantime, I figured out how to share my screen, I can just kind of, I'll go ahead and give you that. Let's see here, options, and then you can sort of, well, actually, why don't I just do this? You can always chime in, Scott. You'll still be able to speak. But I just want to kind of give you an idea of what a sort of a working copy looks like. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just going to run you through this real quickly, but here's my tasks. They're overdue. Here's my calendar, right? So we've got tomorrow Dan Streetman, Friday Dana. I got some other stuff going on here that's not on this calendar, but it looks like I've got, everything's kind of like consolidated on this home thing. The chatter, this is my feed, but I can go to various groups and things like that, but that's my thing. Leads, we've got, lots of leads in here. A lot of them go back to Dreamforce 14. We haven't even followed up on them. 115 leads. That's really kind of a crime, but anyway, and they haven't been converted. These are Salesforce users. We have almost 400 companies that use Salesforce, and you can see some pretty big names here. If I just, you've got AAA, you've got Accenture, you've got, Aetna, a lot of companies, and these are companies we're going to target for you guys to get your work in. Contacts, your drop-down menu is a really, you can create views. I mean, this is a view here. We got Cohort 7, which I created, and which has all of you in here, and it's got, all of the specific fields that I want shown on here. So it's a quick summary. I can basically just quickly go to your, like your resume and show that. Oops, this has a little bit of a bug here, right? So that's leads, accounts, contacts, opportunities. We've got, I'll just go to all open opportunities and show you what we have here. We've got a whole ton of them, right? And so, I like your naming convention, Scott. I'm going to start to adopt it, but you can sort of see, I have used the account name with the product interest, but not with the close date. So generally, we're almost there, but not quite. And then you can see that, we've got all kinds of information. We can review the opportunities, the cases, right? So we've got open cases here, and we got a lot of them. Reports, again, we've got lots and lots of reports. We can have like Veterans to Cloud alumni. So this is all the people that have been through the course, and so we can basically take a look, right? We have a bunch of folks. You'll see your names in here as well. And then dashboards, I haven't really done much with that. But yeah, so I really haven't used the dashboards, but it gives you a sense for how at least we've populated these particular fields and how we're using it. The home screen here, again, you've got, like, right, the tasks, the way that Scott described to set them up, and in most cases, they can be related to a contact. They are related to a contact. So I can click on that and go to that contact, or they can be related to an opportunity or an account or anything else. So anyhow, that's kind of the quick overview. Scott, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I appreciate that, and I think that a lot of companies use it differently, but those standard objects, as you can see, I think that your tabs are identical to the ones I kind of selected as the major ones. So I think that
I actually did this on the fly. I created this view. So for me,
it's making me look good. Okay.
but this is a good, I think this is a good, really basic layout or a good basic setup of the objects that you would want in this particular application. I think it's, yeah, I would agree. There's a question from Melanie. Scott, everything that end users can do in Salesforce, the administrator can do also, question mark?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you're a system administrator, you're going to have full privileges in the system. You know, the only exception is going to be if you guys start to restrict access, you know, using your role hierarchy. You know, someone may not have visibility to someone else's records, but yeah, that's correct. As an administrator, you can go in there and you can do all these tasks as well.
Okay, thank you, she says. All right. We have, you know, tomorrow's Dan Streetman, Senior VP from Salesforce, Army veteran. You definitely want to do that. So that's really, I think, the presentation itself was an hour, right? You know, we got a little bit of a late start. So this will be recorded. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording right now, but